Did you know that as a slave in 1760 New York, you would have your features and skills examined in order to determine a price that you would sell for? On average, you would sell for $10,000 in today's value, or 7,500 British pounds, though some sold for over $100,000. But first, you'd have to get to New York. Below deck on a slave ship, Africans were confined in tight rows with little ventilation and limited water. On some voyages, mortality rates reached 15%. Disease spread quickly and resistance was met with violence. The trip could take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, depending on weather and other stops. This was known as the Middle Passage. Once they arrived, the enslaved Africans were brought ashore, washed, and inspected again. Merchants recorded age, height, and visible health. The condition and price of the enslaved people directly tied into Atlantic credit networks, insurance contracts, and commodity markets stretching from the Caribbean to London. Those financial networks reduced human lives to units of risk and return, and in that system, age, strength, perceived health, and skills determined the value of a slave. Healthy men in their 20s were the most sought after and thus fetched the highest price as they were best able to work, whilst girls would fetch their highest price during their prime childbearing years. Slaves could fetch a higher price if they held a skill, with blacksmithing being the most sought after, offering sometimes up to 50% more value. Carpentry, cooking, and other domestic skills also increased value anywhere from 15 to 40%. On the other hand, a slave's price was discounted if the person was known to be a runaway, was crippled, had a vice such as drinking, or was physically impaired, with discounts of up to 60% being offered. Auctions were public and routine, with the slave market in New York residing at the end of what is today known as Wall Street, the financial hub of the entire world. The highest-selling slave went for over $160,000 in today's value, as he was a highly skilled carpenter, though the average was around $10,000. Living conditions were cramped and controlled. Many slept in attic lofts, cellars, or shared quarters behind the main house, with little privacy and few possessions beyond what they wore. Enslaved men and women performed the most basic, unending labor that kept households running. They rose before dawn to chop firewood for cooking and heat, carried heavy buckets of water from public wells, and prepared food. Enslaved men also labored on docks, in shipyards, and as skilled craftsmen, and many were hired out daily with their wages being collected by their owners. After dark, strict curfews limited movement and patrols could stop any enslaved person found in the streets. Although some still tried to escape, hoping to reach the Hudson River or slip onto a departing vessel, newspapers would put out wanted notices with their descriptions. If recaptured, they were whipped, sometimes branded, and often sold farther south, ensuring they would never see their families again. This was only one part of New York in 1760. See the full documentary on my channel. Support the work by liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's what makes these reconstructions possible, and tell me below which moment in history we should explore next.